Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this.
Gentlemen, here's a simple number. 100% of college basketball champions since 2004 were ranked in the top 12 in week 6 of their respective season that they won the national championship. History tells us that there are 12 teams this season that are now in play going forward to cut down the nets this season. Those 12 teams are Arizona, Kansas, Purdue, Houston, UConn, Baylor, Marquette, Creighton, North Carolina, Gonzaga, Oklahoma, and Tennessee. We'll go around the horn here. I want to ask some trust level questions. Who do you think is the favorite here? Who do you think is a fraud in this group? Tyler, we'll start with you, and let's start on the positive side. If you had to pick one of this group of 12 right now on December 14th, who is your best bet to win a national championship this season?
I would go with Kansas. Bill Self. I think arguably he's the best coach in college, but also Hunter Dickinson's playing unbelievable. Kevin McCullough is playing very well too. They have a lot of pieces. The one concerning part about Kansas to me is their lack of depth, and I think that can haunt them. That worries me. But KJ Adams is playing unbelievable right now, and he's a complementary player to Dickinson as well. And anytime you're getting production and scoring from him, I think it provides that much of a boost for Kansas. So for me right now, I'm a big believer in Kansas out of that whole group. And also I would just want to point out that Duke is not in that list. So that is a plus for me as well, and that's good to see as a Tar Heel.
No Duke and no Kentucky. It's the greatest day ever for Tyler Hansbrough here. Oh man. I like Kansas. I'm going to go with Arizona here, and I know it's kind of trendy. And shout out to ESPN's John Gassaway. He's the guy that put me onto this whole the top 12 in week 6 thing. He's been doing that for like 6 or 7 years over there. But yeah, I mean, look, I think it's Arizona. I think they are built to win in the month of March. They have the big guy inside to deal with people like Zach Edey, to deal with people like Hunter Dickinson, to deal with people like Donovan Clingan. They have as much guard talent and as many playmakers as anybody in college basketball. And if you look at teams over the years, one thing that we see over and over and over again is to be able to win a national title, you need to have 2 playmakers, 2 point guards on the floor. They basically got 3 with a guy coming off the bench as well. They are athletic. They have a guy at the 4 in Kashad Johnson, who I think is the most underrated addition in all of college basketball this season. He allows him to be switchable. He allows him to be versatile, and he's also averaging 13 points a game. So to me, it's Arizona. The level of toughness, the level of playmaking, the level of shot making, and the fact that guy that they got coaching, Tommy Lloyd, he's won a lot of games everywhere that he's been, Gonzaga and Arizona. So I know I'm kind of like it's a cop-out move here, Greg, but I'm going with the number 1 team in the country. They are actually the number 1 team in the country.
I don't know if it's a cop-out move if you own up to it being a cop-out move. I'm going to have to think on that one for a little bit. But what I would like to do, guys, I would like to cross-examine you both a little bit here, if you don't mind. I'll go back to Tyler first here. Kansas, good basketball team. They're 9-1 on the season. They've fallen to 12th in KenPom. Like I was surprised when I looked at it. They are the lowest of the 12 if you go by the KenPom analytics, right, and not the AP poll in this. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season they've won 9 of their first 10 games, I would have expected like, oh, yeah, they're like 1 or 2 in those metrics. They're not. They have had some scares, including a game against Eastern Illinois that was tied with 3 minutes left. It kind of feels like they only have 4 players. If they don't have a 5th guy emerge, are you really sticking with that as your favorite, or is this more about what they could be at the end of the season?
Yeah, it is based off of those 4 players that you just mentioned, but also I do want to say that they can develop some guys. Someone off the bench is going to provide them with some scoring opportunities. I think Timberlake, he may be a shooter that they can rely on and come in off the bench and give him a little bit of a lift. But I don't really go by the KenPom analytics all the time. I do say that they have probably one of the best quality wins is that's when they smacked UConn in Kansas. And I felt like UConn is the hardest playing team in the country, and they have the most sophisticated offense. So they make you guard, and the fact that they beat UConn in Kansas, and I know that Kansas isn't an easy place to play. I feel like that makes me believe them that much more. I'm sorry to bring that up on you, Rob.
just throwing daggers everywhere, man. Taking shots at everybody. No one is safe with Tyler Hansbrough tonight.
Rob deserves it for the record because he didn't pick his UConn Huskies to repeat as champions here. Let's never forget that. If Dan Hurley does find himself on a ladder in April, we get to hang this over your head, Rob. I want to pick apart your Arizona pick real quick, though, as well. So they have 3 very good wins, right? They have 3 very good wins. Duke and Cameron is obviously an impressive win. Tyler can tell us all about that. That's a very, very difficult place to play. Michigan State on a neutral, that's not the win we thought it was. Wisconsin and Arizona, you just said you're skeptical of Wisconsin. Like, have we seen Arizona truly beat, including Duke? They don't look like what we thought they were. Are you really that impressed by any of their wins this year yet?
I mean, yeah, you go into Cameron and you win. That's always going to be impressive. You beat Wisconsin they were up by 30 in the second half, and the one thing that Wisconsin doesn't do is get blown out. Well, I guess unless they're on the road against Providence or Arizona or whatever it is. But to beat them the way that they beat them is something that I think is impressive. But to your point, we're going to learn everything we need to know about Arizona the next 9 days. They get Purdue in Indianapolis, then they get Alabama, and then they get Florida Atlantic all in the span of the next 8 days before Christmas. So we will know if this argument is smart, if it's dumb, if it's savvy, if it makes me look like an idiot by December 23rd. So we're going to know everything we need to know about Arizona. I am willing to bet on them. I am willing to ride with them. I will say this, though. If Braden Smith is going to do what he did against Alabama, like if he's that dude, I don't know, man. Like that, Purdue could be a problem. Like they have the most unstoppable force in college basketball, and they got a point guard that can get you 27 and 8. Okay. That's eye-opening.
Yeah. The vengeance narrative, right? We've seen it before. You talked a lot about it this offseason. We saw Virginia come back on a mission. I think Purdue's on a similar mission right now. You mentioned betting. Let's bring up the betting odds, if we could, for these 12 teams, because some of these surprised me a little bit more than others. I'm not surprised Oklahoma is at the bottom of this list. I am surprised you can get a team like North Carolina at 30-1 odds with Creighton at 20-1 odds after UNLV just smacked them last night in Nevada. I don't know about that. Tyler, are your Heels some good value here at 30-1?
They are. And the reason I say that is because they're a veteran team. They have veteran guys, experience. RJ Davis, by the way, is not the same player as he was last year. And I've said this multiple times on this show. He's a consistent scorer. He's averaging like 21 right now. He is providing them with a boost, and it's really taken a lot of pressure off Armando. But also we have Harrison Ingram, a veteran player who's come in, and he's been a plug-and-play guy for the Tar Heels, and he's provided us with the opportunity to go with different lineups and play smaller and also stretch the floor and bring the defense out and let Armando work inside. But the one concern that I do have with my Heels is the depth. I think we have to get some quality play off the bench, and we have to use the bench a little bit. I think that we just can't go heavy with the starters and expect them to play all year. And then when one of the guys gets hurt or it's late in the year and the guys are exhausted, expect so much from them, especially if you bring a guy off the bench and you don't play him in the early part of the season, expect him to come in and do a lot of things in the middle of the year. That's going to be asking a lot of somebody that doesn't have the experience and can be a little rusty. Those are my concern with the Hills. But also the other major concern is if we show up and play defense, that's where my biggest concern lies. If defense, I think we can beat any team in the country. Defensively, we haven't been as good as I thought. So those are my concerns.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly on everything you just said there, Tyler, especially with the defensive stuff. Like, it's nice to see North Carolina with 2 guards that kind of have roles that are identified, with Elliot Cadeau as the creator and RJ Davis is a guy that's going to go finish all the stuff that gets created for him. And Harrison Ingram has been a revelation, man. He's been awesome this year. I think North Carolina is the best value on that list. I also want to throw out there Baylor at 20-1. I think Baylor is closer to like the UConn Houston level than they are at 20-1. Like, I think that they are a better team than Creighton. Love this Creighton team. Love what they are defensively. They don't have someone that can make stuff easy if they're not able to get shots out of the offense that McDermott creates. They don't have, in my mind, enough one-on-one creation. And Tennessee, I'm kind of in the same thing. Like, they're going to guard you. Do we trust Dalton Connect to be good enough for 6 straight games to go win a national title? I don't know. I do trust Baylor to be able to be good enough defensively, and I do trust their goal. Like, Jacoby Walter is a stud. Like, he's going to be a top 5 pick. I think Ray J. Dennis, now that he's kind of getting acclimated to this level, gives him another shot creator in the backcourt. Langston Love returned quicker from an offseason injury than I think anybody expected him to do. Jaden Nunn's been really good in his role. And Yves Missy is, I don't know if he's going to be a pro this year, but he's going to be a pro at some point. So I think Baylor's is, I would probably bet them all the way up to what, like 13, 14 to 1, something like that. And you can get them at 20 to 1 right now at BetMGM. But the other thing I want to just point out is there's only one team in this like poll from the week 6 poll, the John Gasaway week 6 poll, that was outside the top 9 that won a national title and was able to find a way to get it done. And that was Villanova in 2016. So like at this point, the interesting thing to me, guys, is like look at Florida in 2006. They've already made it into the top 6. Like you look at the UConn team in 2011. They already made it into the top 4. Like some of the weird years and surprise teams that made their run, like they figured it out early, and we were able to figure out some of these teams early. So like, what do we do with Oklahoma, guys? Greg, what do you do with Oklahoma here?
I think you try and forget that they're in the top 12 right now before you fill out your bracket. That's what I would do. I mean, look, it's a good basketball team. Don't get me wrong. Like we're going to learn a lot about this team in Big 12 play, but I would be lying to the camera if I looked the camera in the eyes right now and said that I trust Oklahoma more than the top 3-4 other teams in the Big 12 right now.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.